No, I'm talking about Black Friday. I don't like being around people. I don't like large crowds. Yeah.
What is your opinion on the Jesuits?
Oh, not this again.
Do you even know what they're doing?
They're Catholic.
Some would say,
Apparently not.
apparently they're not.
Yeah, apparently they're like, oh, I'm the savior.
Apparently, it's
No,
because
they're not.
No, it's because they're really the.
yeah,
Oh,
In
well,
the
then I
sense
don't
of-
like them.
I told you. I told you. What did I say?
Mr. Magman said they're basically woke Catholics.
Okay. Well, no, I don't dislike them. I don't know them, so I'm
Father
not gonna say
Burkamp dislikes them.
Listen, it hates them.
Okay,
What
okay,
doesn't change?
He really, really
Listen.
hates them.
okay.
We're talking about Black Friday again.
Stop!
What's Black Friday?
Now, we may finish a little early today, okay, so, yes. Okay, so did we finish talking about Senate leadership, yes?
Sort of.
Yes. So it's
you-
kinda like-
you-
yeah.
You said
Yeah, I
you
mean-
wanted to.
The bell rang and you're like, it's the same as the house.
Yeah, we got the important stuff down, okay? Now, as far as the test goes, Lily, you are gonna need to know some of the leadership for current House and Senate. What you won't need to know is whips. I will not go that low on the totem pole. You will also need to know your representatives from the state of Kansas.
Run us a citizen.
Okay, so you don't need to know all 4 members of the House from Kansas because 3 of them don't represent you. Only 1 does. 4th district, yes? Somebody just said, yes, Ron Estes, okay? And then our 2 senators?
Doctor.
Very good, okay. All right, moving on. Now, this next section I'm gonna talk about, we're talking about Congress. We're gonna talk about powers of Congress. Powers of Congress. And then once we do that, guys, we're basically done with the notes, with the exception of going over how a bill becomes a law, which I will do over the next 2 days, Thursday and Friday, which means we will be wrapping up section 4, okay, before Thanksgiving, but we won't test because you guys have a paper due Saturday night.
Yep.
Done, right?
Get it, Ryan. You're so great.
I mean, still have 2 papers, right? So basically everyone is.
Yeah, I wrote.
But are we talking about powers of Congress?
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Hey, guys, powers of Congress.
All right, so now the powers of Congress are limited by federalism because some powers are not granted to them, which means they are reserved to whom?
States.
I love you. Okay,
You too.
now, do you remember when we talked about expressed, implied, and inherent,
Yes.
and concurrent?
Didn't you also talk
I am trying to keep it alive. You understand?
Yes.
Join the cult.
I will.
Okay? Now, one of the express powers I want to focus on today of Congress is the power to tax. Let's talk about taxes. Okay? Now, you got federal taxes. What kind of federal taxes do you have?
Federal income tax.
Federal income tax. Oh my God.
Social Security.
Social Security tax. Otherwise known as what? Isn't that FICA?
Is it called like OSHA?
I thought FICA was social security with.
Medicare.
Medicaid.
Medicaid is taxed at the state level. Yep, that's okay. These are fed.
Isn't there a federal unemployment?
Unemployment is part of Social Security.
International trade tax.
Oh, what?
International trade tax.
I don't know that one.
Like tariffs.
Is that on your,
I'm just wondering.
Like tariffs.
you don't pay that. Now, at state level, depending on what state, yes. Because some states don't have a state income tax, right?
Property.
Property taxes.
Sales, death,
I'm down at.
syntax.
So like
Yeah.
cigarettes.
What else would be in syntax? I don't know. Right, you couldn't have
So
been
should we
racist.
write down like 3 of each?
Excise, which is what?
Excise? Oh, is it called that? That's.
Yeah, excise taxes are sin taxes. Jewel, you know what a sin tax is? Yeah, okay, good.
Oh, wait.
All state level.
You have to. Like documents, tax them with documents.
Oh.
Yes, those are just. Gasos.
Yeah. Petrol.
Yeah, food.
Which would be sales. Okay. Now, depending on how much money, oh, we left one off.
Capital gains. That's tax at the state level.
No, that's over there.
Oh,
Okay. That's a whole bunch of taxes, isn't it?
yes, sir.
Yeah.
You keep,
No.
isn't that Medicare?
No, the bottom 2 are state.
It's all that. It's all a list. It's one big list, okay? These are federal. Sorry. Federal.
Is Obamacare not the same as Medicare? Tax wise.
Okay, no. So remember this thing where when you turn 27, you have to buy health insurance or you pay a what?
Premium.
You pay a tax. Not a fine, tax. Okay, because the government can't fine you for not buying something. They don't have that power, but they do have the power to tax you. Follow me?
They just say it's a tax.
Correct. Okay, now, so you have a job, work, you own a home, make investments, you shop. What's the average American pay in taxes? You add all these things together, especially if you drink alcohol or smoke.
40%.
60, it's 60 something.
$15,000.
I'm saying 60% of the.
Depends on the person,
27.5.
but over 40%. That is an expressed power of Congress. Okay, now, the death tax, also known as the estate, okay, depends on your situation. Now, listen, guys, if you have people in your family that own land, have assets, okay, those assets are over, I believe the number now is 1.2 million. You could check me on that. You may qualify for the estate tax, okay, which means you're going to have to pay close to 40% of what you get in inheritance to the government. Yes.
Isn't there a way to get rid of some of the taxes if you set it like a trust fund or something?
Loophole.
Yes. Okay. So this is why estate planning is important. Okay. So before you die, if you have a lot to leave your kids or your family, then you need to set up what's called a trust. Okay, the trust pays taxes, the kids don't. Okay, so my wife and I have set up a trust already for Lily and her brother. So what assets we have will go into the trust. And they will be able to take things out of the trust, and when they take things out of the trust, they will pay taxes on it. The trust will pay taxes on itself. Does that make sense? So guys, if that's an issue for your family, you've got a plan for this. The other thing you can do is give that money away before, to get underneath the number. You know what I mean? Because that estate tax kicks in at a certain amount. And if you can give away some of that money before you die, then you fall under that amount. Okay? Now you can gift up to $10,000 to a person every year. And that person not have to pay taxes on that $10,000. Okay? Yeah.
No, I knew that from watching Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, okay.
That's what I learned that from.
That's a pretty old movie, but it's still the same. Okay. Now, so guys, this is just stuff you have to familiarize yourself with. Capital gains. Now, guys, capital gain, most people think is stocks. But some people do things like flipping houses or buy duplexes and rent them out, or buy homes and rent them out. Okay, what do you call this? Rental properties. Yes, guys, that's like a business, or it could be a capital gains. Now, depends who's in charge. If the Republicans are in charge, capital gains taxes tend to come down. If the Democrats are in charge, capital gains taxes tend to go up. Okay, but let's say you buy a house. You live in it for 5 years. You sell it for a $30,000 profit. Since you lived in that house for 5 years, it's not considered a capital gain. Now, let's say you buy another house and you invest that $30,000 that you made into that new house, and then you live in that house for 1 year, and then turn around and sell it for a profit of another $30,000. Now you're getting yourself into a tax issue. Okay? First time's free. The first time you sell a house and make a profit, there's no taxes on it. If you live in it for 5 years on it, there's no taxes on it. Follow me? But if you're doing this as a business, flipping houses, there's capital gains on it. Okay, you have to pay taxes on those profits. Okay, it's a business. Same thing with stocks. If you leave the stocks in the market, you can sell them and rebuy. You don't have to pay taxes, as long as you're reinvesting what you made. Now, when you get that money out in the end, you'll pay taxes on it unless it's in a Roth IRA. Okay? That's why you want to be in a Roth first. Invest there, then you can do your other stuff. Yes.
That would be the same with like cars.
Like being a used car salesman?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it depends on how you're running it. That, I don't know if that would be considered capital gains or business. Like you'd be paying taxes on your profits.
What if you like have a project?
Like you pay yourself.
Because there was a year where you like had a lot of wrecks and stuff. And my dad had to buy like 5 cars, and he was like, "We can't buy any more this year." Or else, like he'll, I don't know.
For tax purposes?
I don't really know why. So it's
He's probably out of money.
no, like he said, legal. No, because the insurance would give us.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's
What about, like-
11.7 million.
The state is 11.7 now?
And if you're married, it's 20, it's double.
Okay, good. Okay, so the big one there is farmers. So like if you own a big farm or a bunch of land and it's valued, over 11 million. Okay, so that's gone up. That's good. That's
So if
good.
you're married, it's 23.
A lot of money.
Yeah,
Well, it takes a lot.
I don't have that.
You don't have to worry about it.
Now, Lily, you'll be really fortunate if you have to worry about that. Okay. I don't think you're gonna have to worry about that much. Okay. Okay. Next thing we want to talk about, also mentioned in the Constitution dealing with Congress is they have the right to pass copyright law. Copyrights. Write that down. Now, what type of things do you copyright? Music,
Something you created.
What is it like, Patton?
lyrics, drama, painting, sculpture, pictures, internet,
Names for characters.
Websites.
books.
Characters.
Brands? Oh. your
Lightning
trademark.
McQueen.
No, your trademark.
You will get very sued if you make a car and make it look like Lightning McQueen.
You can't, I thought, no.
This- No, Disney will sue you in a heartbeat.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, they sued some YouTuber called B is for Build because they made a Mustang and they named it Louise, which is the name of some Mustang from some Nick Cage movie. They sued him big time. Disney
Sued him
doesn't
for what? Was he making money off of it?
I mean, YouTube videos.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Disney doesn't care.
All right, so, how long does a copyright last?
5
Years
years.
after the death of the creator.
No, I said, like,
Yeah.
70.
Oh.
So 70 years, hey, life plus 70.
Yeah, 3 years.
How did you guys know that?
I watched a video about it.
Why did you know this?
Right.
Life plus 70. Okay, now, can you sell the copyright?
Yes.
Yes.
Take a lot of money.
Yes. Okay, I think it was Paul McCartney that bought the copyright to Michael Jackson's music. I think it was, or either it was the Beatles. Maybe he bought out the Beatles. But like it was $100 million or something like that. So guys, yeah, this is intellectual property, yes? Okay, so I mean these laws, I think they protect creative people, they protect talented people, and so yeah, I mean, kind of take these laws pretty seriously in this country, which I think is good. No,
Easy way to. They really don't protect the states.
what's that?
They really like protect the states. Really, if you're like an author and artist, the maximum amount of time you need to create a work, you might pass on some money to your kids, but really you only need that content at the very max.
Okay.
Yeah, it feels like a really easy way. It just feels overkill. Feels like an easy way to make like a monopoly if you just start buying up copyrights.
Oh well, yeah. I
And then
guess
you have, like,
I see what you're saying.
Like Disney.
Disney did that. That's like
so
that
many
Nick Cage
different
movie sucked, and no one liked it. So they sued this person because they made second-gen fastback Mustang and named it Louise. Like they
Yeah,
built it.
they like modeled it after.
They sued them, took the car, made them take down all the videos, and made them pay Disney however much money they made for the video.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
All right.
It's almost like
Mickey Mouse was the first thing to get recopyrighted.
So you can recopyright?
Well,
Yeah, you can.
up until like Walt Disney passed away 7 years ago or so.
Yeah.
Probably closer to 75, Mickey Mouse, and like his character was getting close to
Being
running
true.
out,
Yeah.
and there'd be an insane
Oh, I knew
amount
it was, I just
of
always
Mickey Mouse stuff everywhere.
Like, it's not the first thing I'm talking about, mine was just.
And they-
So the government let them recopyright it? Okay. All right. Well, enlightening me. Thank you. What about patents? You guys know what
Patents are
patent?
safe. Patents are safe.
Design.
Those are good.
Now patent, how long do they last?
Forever.
However long you're issued.
20 years, generally. Yes.
So you have to renew
We have to
it.
get a new.
Well, so like, let's talk about the Frisbee,
Flying disc.
right? The Frisbee, the hula hoop, or, a prescription drug. So these are inventions, generally, yes? And so, now with prescription drugs, any of you guys have allergies, take like Claritin or anything like that? Okay. I remember because I'm older than you, I had allergies when I was in my 20s. And I had to get a prescription to get Claritin. And you couldn't buy it over the counter. You had to get a prescription. Okay. And Clarendon had the patent. And so these pharmaceutical companies can make a whole lot of money on these. But Congress changed the law. So on prescription drugs, the patent usually now lasts about 7 years. 7. So that you can get generic drugs that makes it cheaper. So if you're Pfizer or Merck or one of these big J&J, big pharmaceutical companies, now they spend a lot of money on research and development, so they should be able to make a profit. Okay, but what the Congress was saying is that, look, these drugs are made to help people, and they're, you need to make it. We need to shorten that patent period for prescription drugs. Okay, you guys remember the stuff about, was it the EpiPen or the insulin? Yeah, and how expensive that was, and that one dude was like evil, like, and you had to, I don't know how much. Huh?
No, the original creator put like he didn't even patent it, so that it could be.
Okay.
And it's super easy. And then some company patented it.
Yeah, and made it super expensive. Yeah, that, I think that these pharmaceutical companies should be able to make money, because there's no incentive unless you can make money. And so, but shortening the time, so now you can go to Walgreens and get Claritin knockoff or Zyrtec or Allegra or whatever, it's all knockoff generics. It's a lot cheaper. Yes? Yeah. Okay, good for the American people. One more thing here. Have you guys heard of eminent domain?
Yes.
Immediate.
This is the power or the inherent right of government to take what? Take your property for public use. The inherent right of government to take your property for public use. Now, most of the time when we hear about eminent domain, we talk about this.
Roads. Sidewalks.
That's a real.
Public
Sidewalks.
transportation.
Train.
You gotta build a railroad across the country, transatlantic, you're gonna go across some people's property. So you can take that property, but you have to pay the owner the market share, that market value for that property.
They did it down by the.
Down on 13th. Where I live. Or
They
no,
did it down by the.
For North High?
No, the road that they just remade.
Okay.
Yeah, they did it by.
On
They
13th.
did it by.
No, it was 135th and Central, right by my house.
Yeah.
Then have you
Oh,
been
the-
west of
They
100?
built that road in there.
You live on the east
Oh,
side.
that's right.
I know the town.
So 13th, and this one
Between
just happened.
13th and what?
13th, in between 135th and 119th.
Oh,
Okay.
I mean, that's.
So they were,
They expanded the road?
they expanded the road, but they had to cut down these people's like trees and all that,
And
and
on
they
their
didn't want to
property,
cut
'cause
down.
there's like.
They paid them.
And they went to court, and I don't remember, I think they ended up getting paid for it.
Yeah. If they take your property, they have to pay. Okay, now, if it's in what's called an easement, okay, because a lot of properties will have easement, people, where you have to allow public access, okay, on certain pieces of property, between certain pieces of property, yeah. And so, just depends. Now, Ruby.
Yeah.
Over by North High, they built the new gym, right? At North High, and they built the new gym right on top of the softball and baseball field at North High, okay? And they were thinking that the people that live next to North High would sell their homes, and they would use eminent domain, they'd sell their home. But they didn't want to sell their homes. And they still haven't sold their homes, okay? Now, could the government force them to?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
So that they could build a softball and baseball field at North High?
Yeah, yes. Yes, yes.
They
think
did
they
it,
can.
they did it
No.
down by the, it's coerced it. They give you a lot of money.
Yeah, that's at St. Mark's, they built the gym and they had to buy out a house right there to like build the gym on, make more parking lot. And so they paid their, like
Court
3
case.
times what it was.
Down by the palace, they did it. They just kept offering them more money. We're like, okay.
Where is it?
The palace.
Yeah.
New London is in Connecticut. Okay. Kilo owned a bed and breakfast, a little pink house on the water in kind of a dilapidated area of New London, Connecticut. Dilapidated. And the city of New London wanted to kind of revitalize that dilapidated area. And so they wanted Kilo to sell her property so they could like build condominiums and stuff. And she said, no, this is my little pink house and I'm keeping it. And they forced her to. She took him to court. It went all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said in 2005 that if eminent domain improves the economic condition of the community involved, you can force somebody to sell. She lost. Now, what's that mean? What happened to private property rights in the United States of America? When I heard this, I was freaking outraged. Okay, so you start hearing stories about it, like these local governments doing this to people. Right? Now, let me give you some examples. Beach.
Okay.
Condos.
Thank you, Lily.
Finally got one. House, little house.
She's had so many lows.
The condos wanna buy the
It's
little
the pink
house.
house.
It's the little pink house on the beach. It's made out of cinder blocks, just like this. And Grandpa built that right on West Palm Beach. In the 1940s, he bought that piece of land right on the water and built a little pink house. Okay? Now, over time, his neighbors sold their beachfront property for big money, okay? And they built condos. Now, we talked about property taxes a few minutes ago. Now, let's say there's 130 condos in this building, 100 here, 115 here, and 120 here. There's 120 property taxpayers. Each one of these condos, costs about $300,000. So talk about property taxes times 600, or 500 people here, okay? Times property taxes were $300,000 each. Now, what does the government, local government, do with those property taxes? They fund what? Schools. So we need turf fields, man. We need a new gym. Let's force this guy to sell his property because he's just one paying property taxes, one person, single household. If we make him sell this, we build a tall, skinny one here, we can put 60 in there, and we have more of a tax base, which is the betterment for the economics of the community. Force him to sell. Or in Oakland, this is West Palm Beach, Florida, by the way. Oakland, California. Now, there's a street corner, right? There's a tire store here, right? This tire store was owned by Grandpa. Then it was owned by the son. And now it's owned by the grandson. 3 generations owning this tire store on a corner lot in Oakland, California. But the area is kind of run down and dilapidated. So they decide, the city of Oklahoma, they're going to fix it up. They're going to invest in it. So they forced this guy to sell his tire store 3 generations owned. And what do they put there? A Sears with a tire store. I'd like to see Kilo repealed and maybe redefined. I understand the need for eminent domain, guys. So do you. We're building a highway. You guys know K96 goes up towards Mays, right? Right? From what I'm hearing is they're going to build a connection of 96 down to Goddard so you can go around the north side of town instead of taking frickin' Kellogg across.
Isn't that what Kellogg was made for?
Huh?
Isn't that what Kellogg was made for?
Kellogg's been under construction since you were born,
Yeah, I said that's
and it'll be under construction when I die.
Hey, that's how road construction works. Everybody used to.
I don't want to go to Houston. That's the Kilo decision. You know, I mean, a lot of people are outraged by this, and there has been some kind of some atrocities there. Okay, what time we got? We got 10 minutes. All right, we're gonna knock out these notes, ladies and gentlemen. All right, that was just kind of throwing in some fun stuff from the Constitution with taxes and different stuff. Okay, now the next thing we're going to talk about is unique powers of the House and the Senate. So powers that they have that are unique to their own. By the way, Lily, I like you having the phone out, fact checking me, giving me some good stuff. Okay, I got no issue with that. All right. Okay. But you can't. No, I don't mind. Okay. All right. So unique powers of each half. Okay. Okay. You ready? I'm going to throw it out there, and you can write it down. Only this body can introduce bills that raise government revenue.
House. That has to do with my house.
House. So if they're going to tax you, it has to start in the House. It's going to raise revenue. It's got to start in the House. With me? Yeah, that's the U.S. Congress. Only this body elects the president if there is no majority in the electoral college.
Senate.
House.
Senate.
House.
Senate.
House.
What? Alexander Hamilton.
It's actually happened twice,
1800.
and it was not Hamilton.
Yeah, but he swung the
Okay, but he was okay because Hamilton wasn't president.
I thought that was in the Senate.
election of 1800 versus Jefferson.
Yeah, Jefferson
Hamilton
and John Quincy Adams was elected too. This has happened twice. Okay. Now, you could get a 269 tie, or you could get a third party. So you could get a guy that gets 69, this guy gets 200,
Nice.
this guy gets 200. Okay?
That does.
Yeah, I can't do math. Okay. Stop laughing at me, Lily.
It'd be 138.
Thank you.
I wasn't asking.
Yes, you were.
That's the right.
Listen.
Okay. So either way, you don't have 270, correct?
Yeah.
All right. This is how it works. Now, the House decides. Now, how many members of the House do we have from Kansas? Okay. Kansas has 4 members. They get 1 vote. Now, 3 of the 4 are Republican. So Kansas, 1 vote for the Republican. California, they have, they'll have 54, okay? And let's say 44 are Democrats. 1 vote, Democrat.
This favors the Republican candidate.
Yes, it does. Okay, so 26 out of 50, whoever gets to 26 wins. It's the W.
I favors Republicans way. Well, I favors Republicans so much more.
He says it like so grand, but we don't like that.
Oh my God.
Oh, but
You go to
like, it's
everybody
like,
else.
it's all like New York, 3/4 states.
It's the W. Okay.
So it gives way more powers to this one.
All right, now, what if there's a tie for vice president? Oh, wait. Not anymore, but before the what amendment, you could have a tie for second. What amendment?
Well,
Before the 12th Amendment, and in that case, in the Constitution, it describes the Senate choosing the vice president. But that's null and void because we adapt the 12th Amendment. Yes? Only in this body can they approve treaties by 2/3 majority.
Senate.
Senate. The Senate approved treaty. You got to have 2/3.
You ever test me like this?
You will have matching on this where you'll put House or Senate.
Can we do it like this? No, but can we do it like this? Like what we're doing right now?
No. Now, only in this body, do bills that spend money have to start. House, that's easy, right? They're going to tax or spend, ways or means, goes in the House. Only in this body do they approve presidential nominations. Senate. Senate approves presidential nominations. Only this body impeaches the president.
oh. Oh, you had a vote.
It's Senate.
Does the House impeach and the Senate does the trial?
Yes, ma'am. So she grew up in a government teacher's house. Okay, impeach means to formally accuse. So you're not guilty, you're just accused. So the House accuses you of a crime. Okay? Then the trial, so only trials for impeachment take place in the Senate. The senators are the jury.
Who's the judge?
Depends on who's being impeached. So there's 3 different types of officials that can be impeached. Federal judges. So in that case, you're not going to use the Supreme Court Chief Justice as the judge because you're impeaching a judge. So the vice president would be the judge. If you're impeaching the vice president, which you can do, it would be the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. And if you're impeaching the president, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Okay. Now, what's interesting, guys, you guys know Trump was impeached twice, right?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about this more when we get to the executive branch. But the first impeachment trial was over Russia, which was a big freaking lie and a hoax. Okay. But the Chief Justice, John Roberts, came to the trial. Okay. You got to have 2/3 to convict. Okay. So everybody knew it wasn't going to happen. The second impeachment, which was dealing over the phone call with Ukraine, okay, John Roberts didn't even show up because the impeachment trial took place after the election. And Trump lost. And Roberts is like, I'm not being part of your dog and pony show. I'm not coming. But they went ahead with the trial anyway.
I thought they wanted to do the second trial just so it set a precedent about something.
Oh, I'm sure that's what it was about.
That's what they said.
Okay. All right. Non-legislative powers. So Congress makes the laws, but what other powers does it have? Non-legislative powers. Okay. They have the power to propose what? No. Those will become laws. Propose that have to be ratified by the states.
Amendments.
Yeah, they can propose amendments, which is not legislation. It's a change to the Constitution. Okay, so that's a non-legislative power. Impeachment is a non-legislative power.
And almost technically.
It is the law of the land. It would change the law of the land.
Is
You
this
are correct.
just non-legislative powers of the Congress and not each one?
Yeah, these are non-legislative.
It doesn't matter from the House or.
Nah, I won't go into that. And then the power to, a big power here is oversight. Investigatory power. Oversight. They call this congressional, write this down, Congressional Oversight. Okay, so have you been paying attention to stuff about the school boards and classifying parents as domestic terrorists? I don't, you guys.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Okay, so the Attorney General of the United States, Merrick Garland, okay, testified a couple weeks ago about this, where the FBI is going to start looking into parents, and then everybody got outraged by that, and then so he backed off and he said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not doing that, and we're not going to do that. Well, somebody in the FBI leaked some documents that showed the FBI, in fact, had been doing that, looking into parents. Now, this is the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And so you have a parent at a local school board meeting criticizing the school board for whatever it may be, the curriculum, how they handled a sexual assault or something like that. And now it becomes you bring in the FBI? No, that's a local police matter, guys. What the hell is shouldn't the FBI be looking at other things? And besides parents that are upset with their school boards? Now, if they make threats against school board members, again, probably a local police situation, yes? Now, if it's like some type of conspiracy against the school board that they're going to kill them, you might bring in the FBI. They said what they're saying is Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, perjured himself in front of Congress 2 weeks ago. He lied. Okay, so that's in the news. That is congressional oversight. Whenever you see members of the executive branch being brought in front of Congress, that is part of their oversight duty. You see it all the time. The head of the IRS, the head of what's his name? How many times has Fauci testified in front of Congress? He's part of the CDC, which is under the executive branch of government, Centers for Disease Control. Okay, so if you're part of the executive branch, so the NSA is watching us, you and I. Who's watching the NSA? Congress. Right. You know what I mean? So that's one of their roles. Okay. That was it, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, we did it.
Kind of nailed your topic today.
Perfect.
Thank you.